4, 3, 2, 1.
Cue music.
This is Movies First with Alex First.
Boyhood was a very good film, but it was bloated. Last Flag Flying by the same director, Richard Linklater, is not as good. It's also distended, but still it has its moments. In short, it's a road trip with a difference. 3 ex-buddies who served in Vietnam reunite after decades of not having set eyes upon one another, for one express purpose. In 2003, softly spoken New Hampshire family man Larry Doc Shepherd, played by Steve Carell, surprises alcoholic former Marine Sal Nealon, Bryan Cranston, when he shows up at his bar in Norfolk, Virginia. Together they visit their formerly wild comrade-in-arms Richard Mueller, Laurence Fishburne, at the church where he now serves as the pastor. Soon after, Doc reveals that his son, a Marine, has been killed in Iraq. He asks his 2 former colleagues to accompany him in collecting his son's body and burying him. Along the way, Doc, Sal and Mueller reminisce and come to terms with shared memories of the war that continues to shape their lives. Last Flag Flying is an unofficial sequel to Hal Ashby's The Last Detail. That came out in 1973 and starred Jack Nicholson, Randy Quaid and Otis Young, based upon a novel by Darryl Ponicsan. Ponicsan also wrote the book upon which Last Flag Flying is based and adapted it, along with Linklater, into the screenplay for this movie. I should add that the script veers significantly from the novel, particularly in terms of the central element of the characters' shared experiences in Vietnam. It's actually the second time that Linklater has tried adapting the book. The first time was back in 2006, when he says the timing wasn't right.
You're listening to Movies First. For more, like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
Whilst I know you could say all movies are set up, this one feels decidedly manipulated for effect from go to woe. In other words, there were often times when it was apparent to me that it was being staged and stage managed. The strings were being pulled and you well and truly knew it. That doesn't mean that when I wasn't conscious of what was happening quite deliberately, that it didn't move me, caused me to think and feel. Part of that was due to the high calibre of the acting talent, led by the most colourful of the trio. Bryan Cranston plays the epitome of contradictions very well. He generally says exactly what's on his character's mind, because he doesn't give a damn. But ironically, he does. I also quite like the contrast that Laurence Fishburne offered as a pastor, controlled in his actions and sentiments, and his frustrations with wild man Nealon that caused him to let down his guard. Carell plays against type as a man of few words who feels a great deal. For those looking for nostalgia, there's also a sentimental sequence in there where the trio purchase their first mobile phones. So, during the course of watching Last Flag Flying, I went from liking to all but loathing it and then back again. I kept thinking, move it along. But one thing's for certain, a tad over 2 hours is way too long for a film with a relatively straightforward premise, notwithstanding a few twists along the way. It scores a 6 out of 10.
You've been listening to Movies First with Alex First. Subscribe to the full podcast at Audioboom, Stitcher and iTunes, or your favourite podcast distributor. This has been another quality podcast production from Bytes.com.